Ugh. What the hell happened?
My arm! Where's my arm?
Nice weather, huh?
I lost my arm and you're asking me about the weather?
Sorry, I was just trying to break the ice. Welcome to the ultimate Sanhua guide. Let's go. You've heard of ice bridging before, but have you heard of ice walling? Wait, I can't climb it? GG man, uninstall. Playing Sanhua right is all about getting her outro skill as fast as possible. So what do her skills do? Her intro skill, resonance skill, and resonance liberation all spawn these fancy ice structures dealing different levels of glacial damage. If you hold the heavy attack button, you boot up a timing minigame where you have to release the button in the small timing window. If you nail the timing, she performs this fancy dash that detonates any fancy ice structure she goes through, dealing even more damage. Additionally, if you have the passive skill Condensation, her intro skill causes her resonance skill to do 20% more damage, which is a nice damage boost. The passive skill Avalanche also gives her an increase to her damage, this time increasing the damage of the ice detonations after using the 5th basic attack. And now you're probably like, but Mr. Farr, the timing window is too hard for me. What should I do? Well, worry not, because if you use her resonance skill, intro skill, liberation, or the final part of her basic attack string, she gains a stack of clarity with her liberation giving 2. These stacks of clarity increase the time window for the heavy attack by a lot. Hyping and mobile players rejoice. All this together means that an optimal rotation with Sanhua would be to start with her intro skill, followed by basic attack 3, 4, and 5 into the skill, into her ulti, and then detonate it with a heavy attack before swap cancelling with your echo. All this should give enough concerted energy if you hit everything. Another rotation that can work would be to skip the basics altogether at the start of the previous rotation and replace them with a heavy attack at the end. This also gives enough concerted energy and is in most cases easier to execute, with the only downside being like 2% damage. Depending on your weapon choice, you could be tickling the enemies or smashing those ice structures harder than I smash your mom. I'm sorry. Sanhua's best weapon option right now is the Emerald of Genesis due to the free crit rate from its main stat, high base attack compared to 4-star options, free energy regen making her energy needs lower, and a nice but small 6% attack buff every time she skills. Unfortunately though, even though it stacks twice, you'll most likely never get both stacks. Kinda like how I'll never see both of my parents. However, with Changli coming out soon, her signature weapon may very well be the highest damage dealing option available. With the same base attack and crit value from its main stats as the Emerald of Genesis, but with the full 12% attack at all times, and up to 56% skill damage boost affecting her resonance skill and her ice detonations, since they are considered resonance skill damage. For those of us who are broke and or responsible with their money, the best 4-star options for Sanhua would be either the Commando of Conviction or Lunar Cutter. While neither of these weapons can match the power of the 5 stars, they definitely still do enough damage, with the Commando of Conviction having a much more user-friendly passive. If you're one of the unlucky individuals who hasn't gotten any of these weapons, then the Sword of Night, ideally at S5, can be an alright solution till you get one of the better options. Sanhua's echo choices are about as interesting as my love life. That is to say, it doesn't exist. What does exist though is the Moonlit Cloud set, giving herself some energy regen on its 2-piece, but more importantly giving the next character a bunch of attack after using her outro skill. Combine this set with the Impermanence Heron's echo ability, giving the next character another 12% damage boost, and you have a potent setup for any hybrid character. If you want to run 4-4-1-1-1, you can use the Bellborn Geocolone as the secondary forecast, keeping the full 5-piece set effect from Moonlit Clouds. For main stats, you want to prioritize crit rate or crit damage on your 4 costs based on which one you need more of, glacial damage percent on your 3 costs, and finally, attack percent on your 1 cost. As for substats, the most important substat is always energy regen till you are able to ult every rotation. Thankfully, in Sanhua's case, she doesn't need much energy regen at all. You may even get away with no energy regen on some teams, especially with the Moonlit Clouds 2-piece or if you're running the Emerald of Genesis. This means that in most cases, the best substats to focus on would be crit, followed by attack percent, then flat attack, since her damage distribution is pretty even. Sanhua's outro skill causes the next character's basic attack damage to grow by a lot. Now I don't know about you, but for me at least, she makes something else grow by a lot.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
In order to abuse both the outro skill and her extremely fast concerto generation, the characters you want to run alongside her are ideally basic attack heavy characters. The strongest example we have right now is Encore, whose damage distribution has nearly half of it coming in the form of basic attack damage. This gives Sanhua's outro skill a massive amount of value towards the team's damage output. Lingyang is another example of a DPS character that deals a significant amount of their damage in the form of basic attacks. Compared to Encore though, he has a smaller split of basic attack damage, meaning that in the future if a character were to come out that buffs up glacial damage, they might easily take up Sanhua's spot. If you are a fan of off-meta picks, then a main DPS Alto also deals a significant amount of basic attack damage, so you can easily slot Sanhua on a team with him. If you want to know more about Alto, you can check out my Alto guide on my channel. Finally, for healing options, since he scales with attack, the standard options of Verena and Baiji work well to keep up the healing set buff, as well as their own personal buffs. Finally, let's wrap up this video like a mother wraps her baby up in a blanket. Sanhua. Ice damage. Baby. Ice baby.
Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
Beginning with her S1, Sanhua gains 15 crit rate per 10 seconds after using her final basic attack. Remember, if you spam basic after her intro skill, she immediately starts off with the third part of her basic, making it easy to get this crit buff. Her S2 is a nice quality of life upgrade, decreasing the stamina cost of her 40 circuit heavy attack, but more importantly, giving her enhanced anti-interruption after using her skill so that she can charge her heavy attack without worrying about getting knocked up. Her S3 increases her damage by 35% against targets with lower than 70% HP. Against squishy targets, this wouldn't matter much since they die easily anyways, but against bosses is where this sequence shines. If you fight a boss for let's say 4 minutes, a majority of that time will be spent with a free 35% damage boost. Moving on, her S4 causes her liberation to restore 10 resonance energy. This not only makes her own rotation more comfortable, but it also batteries any teammates who may have energy issues. Additionally, this sequence also causes the next heavy attack detonate to deal a whopping 120% extra damage. Keep in mind though, this is for only one heavy attack and it has a short timer that, if you get hit, might be difficult to make use of. Her S5 gives a 100% crit damage boost to the detonations of her ice structures, causing them to do nuclear damage. Additionally, it also allows the ice structures to detonate automatically at the end of their duration. Despite this, you still want to detonate the ice structures manually if you can, due to the S4 we just discussed, and of course the concerted generation. Finally, her S6 gives up to 20% attack to all teammates for 20 seconds when she detonates the ice structures. There's not much to say here. It's broken. Almost as broken as my heart when she left. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you learned something new, leave a like. If you want to see more guys like this, subscribe and check out my channel. Check out my Twitch where I stream daily. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.